there, my name is Andrew Givler, also known as GivReads. I'm a YouTuber, author, and booktuber. And here on my Booktube, AuthorTube channel, we like to talk about reading, writing, storytelling, and everything in between. We talk about a lot of stuff that I'm passionate about that has stories in it. And today, we're going on a little bit of a victory lap because I get to say that I was right. And that's my favorite thing. Other than telling stories, being right is my favorite thing. Recently, I put out a video where I complained about how Star Wars was being treated in the new universe. I basically recommended a bunch of books from the old extended universe and said, why are they not pulling from this kind of lore? Because there was this beautiful established thing built by a bunch of legendary sci-fi authors that there was just free, just floating there. And the comparison that I made was that Marvel has the comic books to pull from. Now, they don't use everything, they change things, they make the cinematic universe its own version, right? And they've done a great job with it. But I think that in most cases in Marvel, there is this love and respect for where it's come from that I don't necessarily feel in the Star Wars universe currently. And that was basically my argument. My argument was like the Rogue Squadron books and some of the other ones, Thrawn, all this stuff. These guys are legends. These guys are great. There's some cool freaking stories. Why are we not using them? And I know that the extended universe probably got dinged a little bit because of how poorly received the Old Republic was on a lot of ways. Although a lot of the extended universe Old Republic stuff is very loved. And I know that what happens after the Empire struggle, the Yuuzhan Vong, that's not good, right? Like I don't think that that was a great arc. I think it detracted from the struggle of what made the Empire versus Rebellion good. So I get forking it there, right? But the middle stuff, especially the stuff that still has the Empire going on, it's so strong, it's so powerful. There's such a great opportunity to do things. And I said that if somebody treated it with love, it would be amazing. That was right. So I finally sat down and watched Andor because honestly, when a new Star Wars thing comes out, it takes me a minute now. I have to kind of like take a deep breath and decide to watch it. But my good buddy Spaceman, who actually put out an incredible review video of this, he told me I needed to watch it. So I will be linking his video. We're going to react to some of it in this, but we'll see how we go. But he was like, Andor is completely unlike anything else that's been made. And it is. Andor is the story of Andor from Rogue One, which I said Rogue One is the best example of loving and respecting the Star Wars extended universe. Andor is in that vibe, okay? And it's the story of Andor before Rogue One, how he got tied up with the rebellion a little bit, why he hates and doesn't trust things and everything that happens. But it also captures the universe. It's the beginning of the rebellion. I'm gonna do my best not to have spoilers, but honestly at this point you should stop the video and go watch it because we're gonna talk about it, right? Go watch this thing. There's 12 episodes. There's gonna be another season. Season one's just, it's incredible. It focuses on the characters, it builds the lore. We're gonna talk about it. And if you think I'm overhyping this, I'm gonna let my buddy Spaceman tell you guys something about how he thinks about it, because I'm underselling it compared to how much he loves it.
Never about big cliffhangers or massive showdowns with Andor.
True.
It was about telling a story that matters with people that matter even more in a way that shows the very best and worst of what it means to be alive.
True.
This is one of the best TV series I've ever seen. This is the best a Star Wars project has ever been. This is the best thing Disney has produced in the modern era. This is the quintessential Star Wars experience. There is no show that compares to this. Star Wars, when truly understood, is like poetry. It rhymes.
Oh, Spaceman, you're toxic. I love it. Okay, so I completely agree with what Spaceman had to say about how Andor was, right? They don't force it. They let it happen. They have a lot of symbolism that's really, really cool. So for example, in the prison segment, right after Andor goes to prison, did you notice the orange and white jumpsuits are the inversion of the later Rebellion jumpsuits, right? Like the Rebellion fighter pilots, the baggy orange ones with the white stripes, that was the white with the orange stripe. That was the beginning of the Rebellion. Andor takes place during the seeds of the Rebellion. Mon Mothma is an existing character, by the way. She is in A New Hope, but by then she's sort of out of the limelight. But she's a senator in the Empire. After it's no longer the Republic, it's officially the Empire. She's one of the senators basically trying to fight corruption and speak up for the people. She's basically the mother of the rebellion. And in Andor, we see how she's financing it. She was working with many of the different splinter sort of anarchist level groups that were the forerunners of the rebellion, right? That's how rebellion works. First, it's the crazy people, right? That's real life. That's normal. That's true characters. You don't have somebody who just like is cut and dry and says, you know what? It's time for rebellion. No, it catches fire over time. And this is the first flames of that. And seeing that when the Empire's at its peak of power and how people are suffering and how they're cranking things. The other thing I love is they focus on the ISB. Now, they're missing a character. I think if Mon Mothma's in this, Ysanne Azard should be in this. If you don't know, Yasena Zard was, I believe, the director of the ISB or the Imperial Intelligence, which may have been the thing that ISB directed to. She was allegedly Palpatine's lover. She was terrifying, and she's one of the main villains in the Rogue Squadron series books, which I've recommended before and you should read. I think that Daedra Miro is actually based on Yasena Zard. I could be wrong. They might go a different direction with it, but she looks and feels and acts like how I always pictured Yasena Zard being, but she's a bit young. Although we're not entirely sure how far this is from when the Death Star plans are taken, or how long this happens pre, I guess, Rogue One, right? Which happens right before A New Hope. Because we haven't seen Leia Organa yet. We haven't seen anything. So it's hard to exactly pin the time. We don't know how many more years it was going to take to finish the Death Star, etc. But we're getting close. Also, side note, for those of you who watched it, Luthen's assistant being called Leda with a D threw me, because she kind of looks like a young Carrie Fisher. And I was like, surely not. But at this point, we know that Leia should probably be a senator from Alderaan, or like very, very close. She should be on the political side. We should expect her to cross paths with Mon Mothma at some point, but that hasn't happened yet.
I've seen so many takes from other YouTubers about how Andor doesn't feel like traditional Star Wars.
That's true.
I am never one to call out others. That's not who I am. That's not what I do. And I don't even have 10,000 subscribers, but I have no idea what they're talking about. There is nothing here except authentic traditional Star Wars in every.
So I think that the problem is that most people don't know. I think that Star Wars somewhere along the lines became the goofy sort of fun like thing we didn't take seriously, right? The prequels did damage to the fact that the original 3 movies are incredibly solid, serious stories that hold up, right? They work. Like in terms of the fantasy archetypes, in the same way the Lord of the Rings just works and defines the genre, Star Wars does the same. Now, of course, there are other defining things. You've got your Dunes, your Star Treks, your other like fantasy things, other sci-fi things. I'm not trying to say Star Wars is the pinnacle of sci-fi. I'm trying to say that most people don't realize that the original stuff holds up, and the stuff that's come after has fallen short of that mark. So if we're talking traditional in the scope of the Star Wars tradition that we've been given, I agree. It's a little like DC. I said it. I'm sorry. But I also think DC's addressing that, right? James Gunn's going to turn around. I have no doubt. Please give it to Feige, please.
Every iota of every scene and shot in this series. What Andor accomplishes that no other project has even come close to is reintroduce the feeling I first had as a kid watching the original trilogy.
Yes. 1000% yes. I agree with that. I need to rewatch them.
I didn't know entirely what the politics were about. I didn't fully comprehend the world and the complexities of it.
You didn't need
to. I believed it all because no one was on a narrative pedestal and everything was earned.
Yep.
I believed it all because the trident of Star Wars storytelling, spectacle, action, and message were so bold and vibrant that I was sucked in. I believed the actors and their progressions. I believed the world and its natures. I believed the heroes and their reasonings. I believed the Empire and its legitimacy. And above all, I believed the world that existed because it was treated seriously by everyone involved. That feeling of all...
That's it. I couldn't say it any better. Andor does that. Couldn't say it any better. I 100% agree with Spaceman. 100%. At this point, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but here's the takeaway. I know I've gotten a bunch of tweets from a bunch of you who went and read the Star Wars books I recommended, and I think a lot of you have really enjoyed them. If you haven't read the Rogue Squadron series and some of the other ones, I will link them again back down here. I want to show you the extended universe is truly something special. The Star Wars universe has texture and layers and exists and feels real and gritty in a way that we are sometimes not seeing in the modern film adaptations. And my call for that is... I want to see Andor succeed. Really, this video is to make you go watch Andor. If you haven't watched Andor, you should, because we should show Disney that this is what we want to see in the Star Wars universe. Vote with your eyeballs, because then we will get more of it. My pipe dream is to make an Andor quality series about Rogue Squadron. I would love to one day be allowed to direct that. Disney, like, have your people call my people. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Or write it or something. Or just be in the room screaming and having to be dragged out because Corran Horn. Ah! You know, listen, obviously this is something I'm super passionate about, super love. I'm so excited to see that Disney like took this risk and tried something this bold. I think it's incredible. I want to see more of it. Go check it out. If you want to see more of an incredibly brilliant character storytelling breakdown, go check out Spaceman's video. I will be linking in the description below. I was right. That's the important part. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell me what you guys thought of Andor in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.